Crane. For many years, the biggest fear of most people was to stand up in front of a live audience, speak, communicate, and motivate, and get people to like your brand, your services, and your products. Most people got it wrong, but those who did get it right were seen as leaders. And then the lockdown happened, and now everyone's communicating through different platforms and webinars. And the problem is, if they didn't learn to communicate effectively before, they're even worse now. And they lose audiences who just switch off. And then we went digital, and the possibilities are endless. As a speaker, you can reach any amount of thousands of people, and you can share your message, you can motivate them, and you can change lives. As an event organizer, the possibilities are endless as to how big you can make an event. You don't have to worry about logistics, you don't have to worry about language. You can create something that people can watch in their own time and attend in real time at the same time. As a corporate decision maker and as the owner of a business, you can create your message, you can create a niche, you can get the people from your industry to work with you and make your tribe defined very simply just by putting it online. And what kind of events can you create? You can have a web TV show that dominates your industry and sends your message and your brand across the globe. You can invite in the very best of the industry as your special guests every single day. You can sell through Zoom calls and look after your team the same way. You can also have webinars that unite everybody and tell them about your latest product launches. You can also step into a digital world. Imagine that you could be a digital version of yourself, speaking at a virtual conference. Virtual conferences will change the game. Not only can you speak in a big auditorium where people from their laptops are all present in front of you, but you can also have spin-off rooms, meeting rooms. You can display the latest products, and you can also have boardroom meetings at the same event. You could do them in real time, but also leave all the content available for people to comment on or review at a later date. And the cost is a fraction. You can go global from your laptop. These are the possibilities that are for you, whether you're a speaker, an event organizer, a small business, or a big decision maker. You need to think about the new version of you and how that will impact your brand and take your opportunities to a brand new level. The possibilities are endless now that we're completely digital. You can be online and offline, on stage and off stage, and your speaking ability will drive your message, drive your brand, and change the world. It's time for you to now learn to speak on stage. Hi, I'm Dave Crane. Welcome to the show. It's called Speak on Stage, and I'm still called Dave Crane, and there is a sign right next to me, which is here. That one there, which proves that I am who I say I am. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm very excited to share with you a ton of stuff today, because if you are interested in starting a side hustle, then this is the show for you. Now, you probably noticed this. How to start your own side hustle. Yes, that's what today's show is all about. If you've been thinking about what that really means, then let me enlighten you. Because right now, a lot of people who didn't start a side hustle, and I know for a fact there's about 54 million people in the US had a side hustle. And you might not know what one is, but let me explain that to you in a second. A side hustle is 1.5 jobs. So you got your main job, which is what you get paid for, but you got a job on the side, which also pays you to be doing stuff. So it's a passion project. It's something that just brings in a bit of extra income, and it serves a load of different ideas for you. So you can earn money from it. You do stuff that really fulfills you, makes you happy. It takes up the time efficiently for you. So you're doing stuff that basically you're not wasting time watching TV. You're doing something that really excites you, and it's something you could turn into a job. At the moment, as a 1.5 job, you've got your main job that pays your bills, and you might like it, you might not like it, but you've got this passion project that you really, really love on the side. And the idea of doing it is to get it as close to you and who you are as possible. Now, let me share with you why that's really important. First of all, if you do a project that's really that you love doing, it doesn't feel like work. And if you're doing something that you really love doing, you're inspired and you're also very good at it. And even something that you really love doing, it means that you can do it forever and never get bored and never get tired. See the importance of getting that right? Yes? No? Yes. Okay, I love your thoughts. I love your subscriptions. I love it when you press like and you comment. So we're broadcasting now across live to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Facebook, to Periscope, and that goes into Twitter. So we've got people all over the world, and literally all over the world. We've got between 1 to 2,000 people watching every single show every day. And also the quality and caliber of our viewers is fantastic. We've got politicians, we've got ambassadors, we've got people starting their own business, and we've got people just picking a nose and watching Netflix. Doesn't matter who you are, you're all welcome. Just don't send me a picture if the last lot of people I've mentioned. Since yesterday, I got a message from a teacher from mine from school. Now, why should I mention this? Well, because it ties in with what today's episode is all about. And if you just join me, welcome to the show. Hi. And this is what today's today's episode is about: how to start your own side hustle. Okay, so side hustles I've already explained. Excuse me, let me just excuse me. I needed that. Cheers to you. Thank you for joining me. So, this message that I got is all to do with my side hustle. I'll tell you what it is. There's a lady called Irene Mitchell, and I'm guessing Irene's in her 70s, maybe 70s, even maybe 80s. And you might not know who Irene Mitchell is, and I didn't know who Irene Mitchell was until I got a message sent to me on Facebook the other day. It was an iMessage. It was yesterday. And it said, "Dear Dave," in fact, I could probably get it and read it to you. Let me just have a quick look, see if I can find it for you. I should have really prepared it beforehand, which means that you're not sitting there going, "Dave, why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Why can't you sing even better than this?" Right, it's just about to come up. I should actually put it on the screen here so you could read it, so otherwise you think I'm lying. But I'm not lying, but I should have prepared it here, but I'm not going to, because then you'll see my logins. Okay, so I'll read it to you very quickly. "David, how lovely to hear from you after all this time. I often speak of you and how talented you were. I'll never forget your roles in Brassy Primary School. Their shows, especially Pharaoh Elvis and Joseph. I'm enjoying my retirement from teaching and found a lot of new interests in blah, blah, blah." She was talking about my friends from school and the teachers and so on. Now, Irene Mitchell was my class teacher when I was in 5th grade, juniors. And it's a brilliant junior school called Brassy Primary School. They put on a lot of shows. And for me, as a little black kid growing up in Scotland, a little black English kid growing up in Scotland, every now and again my accent comes back again. So I'm living up in Scotland, and I grew up in Scotland. It was really great. It was a real challenge to fit in, as you can imagine, when you're a little kid and trying to get on with everybody and would say you're English. It wasn't the black thing that was an issue, it was the English thing. And ask any Scot would go, "Yeah, aye, he's right." And so Mrs. Mitchell was my teacher, and we were doing plays. When she says Joseph, it's Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I played the Elvis character. And all through school, I've been doing plays and taking part in shows and singing and acting from the age of 2 or 3. And these got quite professional. Parents would pay to come along and see them, and if the shows were good enough, they'd put on an extra day or another couple of extra days that parents could come along in an evening and see the shows. And we're up on stage, big lights, piano, everything. It's a proper show. And so the reason I bring it up to your attention is because in this particular case, Mrs. Mitchell knew me when I was about 9, 10, 11 years old. That kind of age I would have been at that part of the school. And my daughter Maya is now 10, or she will be 10, with a weekend. It's her birthday coming up. So I'm the same kind of age when Mrs. Mitchell knew me as Maya is now. So that's going back about best part of over 40 years. So first of all, I'm supremely grateful that Mrs. Mitchell has contacted me. Thank you, Irene, and let's see her Facebook, and she's lovely. And I do remember her very well. But also, let me just put this in perspective. This was me, okay? So if I stretch it out a little bit, that's me in a school production of Mary Poppins. Ah, see, it's now falling into place. You're going, okay, Dave, I get it now. That's why you're showing us all these pictures of you as a kid. Bear with me, I'm not just going through my photo album to see if I can air some old pictures. And this was me when I was on stage at the front. That was us doing Mary Poppins again, and that was one of the chimney sweeps. So, I've been on stage for 40 plus years. My teacher contacts me out of the blue on Facebook because she's seen me doing these broadcasts. And she's saying, well, how's it going? I'm retired now. I'm not teaching anymore, but I'm just interested to see what you've been up to ever since, because with that, it'd be just quite interesting to see who you are and what you do and how it all turned out to be. Now, this is why it fits in with what I'm talking about right now. Imagine you could do what you wanted to do from being a kid, that you were very good at being at when you were a kid, and you do that for the rest of your life. Would you have a happier life? And if you took a degree and you got qualifications and got a job that popped up, and then you did another job that popped up, and you managed to, get your family together, go on holidays, have a nice big house, but you're not really fulfilled because what you really loved as a kid you couldn't do. Well, the reason I bring this up is because that should be your side hustle. Let me share with you this incredible idea. It's called an ikigai. Now, I might have taught you before about the hedgehog concept, which is only 3 of these circles. The ikigai is the full Monty, and this is a Japanese version of it, and it's what they say will give you a long and happy life. So, here's how, and literally it's been checked. So if people have their ikigai, they can live to over 100 years old, and that's without science, 3D printing their heart and giving them nanotechnology. This is just people who live longer because they're doing what they enjoy. So let's take this in perspective. Let me put it here. I'll move to one side, which will be here, so you can see my lovely big fat face. Okay, so here we go. First of all, you should be able to see where it says on the yellow, what you love. So there's 4 circles. Imagine doing what you love. The green circle on the side, what you're good at. The blue circle at the bottom, what you can be paid for. And the sort of mauve pinky circle at the side there is what the world needs. And where they come together is your ikigai. Where 2 of them overlap are different. So the yellow one, what you love and what the world needs, is your mission. What you're good at and what you love is your passion. What you're good at and what you can be paid for is your profession. And what you're paid for and what the world needs is your vocation. See? It's hopefully all coming to make sense to you now. Now, the reason I bring this together and share it with you is most people have no idea how important this is to get this right as early as you can. And for my daughter, Maya, I share this with her all the time. Not even the ikigai, literally just to get the love, the passion, and what you're good at together. Sorry, but the love, what the world will pay for, and what you're good at. Those 3 things are the hedgehog. But when you put these things together, you've got the idea of doing your side hustle. Now remember this diagram, how to start your side hustle. See how it kind of starts making sense a little bit more now. You having a side hustle means that you can also do what you love, get paid for it, make big money, make small money. But right now, during the lockdown, quarantine, pandemic times, you can also consider, if you have no job and you're knocking on doors and getting depressed because everyone's laying people off and there's no new jobs and your industry's taking a bashing, you can say, well, maybe I could take a step back, look at my ikigai or my hedgehog and work out, what should I really be doing? What do I really love doing? What am I excellent at doing? What does the world want, as in to pay for, and what does the world need? Because what the world needs might not be what the world's willing to pay for. Jetpacks. The world needs personal jetpacks. Imagine no car, and with carbon footprints, but this is done by some other thing, fossil fuels or batteries, so it can fly you to the shops and back, and you just hang it up when you're finished, and you put it back. Does the world need it? Yeah, it'd be great for everybody. Does the world want it? No, I'll get my car, please. Thank you. It's great. I like parking. I like driving. I play my music. It's kind of cool. So you've got to find what really fits together for you. So with that in mind, today's episode is dedicated to how that whole concept comes together. I can tell you that in today's episode, we got some brilliant stuff to share with you. And I love your thoughts, by the way, your feedback and your comments and your likes and your shares. Start a watch party so other people can join in with this. Because if it's as useful to me and useful to you, then your friends will really appreciate you saying, watch Dave Crane, because this is cool. And in case you didn't know, by the way, today is our 40th episode. Hooray! I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I've been doing 40 episodes to make you money, to get stressed and unstressed. You see, when I squeeze it, it wafts me with like strawberry shortcake. It's squidgy. And also, my plan to one day become the Black Panther and live in Wakanda. I know it's imaginary. I know there's no such thing as Black Panther. And if you saw me looking like that, that might have happened when I was in my teens. But if you can imagine this, crossing Black Panther with the body of a potato, and that's my ambition. Not really so much a potato. In fact, not even to dress in black. That would just be a gimp. Different thing. So what we're talking about is how soon you can put this whole thing together and make it happen. So if you lost your job, and I feel sorry for you, this is maybe an opportunity that you hadn't considered. We're going to be sharing with you a ton of different really exciting things. First of all, I'll be sharing with you this. In fact, I'll lose this now. I think we've seen enough of that. Thank you very much. The 5 secret habits of self-made millionaires. This is fascinating. The mindset that they have when they build a company from zero up to hero, and the things that they do constantly and they swear by. And many millionaires make or lose their money on a semi-regular basis, but it doesn't matter, because even if you've lost your money as a millionaire, your mindset is still, I can make millions, and they can step up and make that money again using these principles. You're going to love it. It's really interesting. I'm also going to be sharing with you the 10 rules of how to start your own side hustle, the rules you're going to put in place. And I've got some really interesting videos coming up about the lean startup techniques, which is a book by Eric Ries, which I'll share with you, a little book synopsis, and also Gary Vee's view on starting a side hustle. And I really got behind Gary Vee's ideas as far as side hustle goes, and many other things as well, because it's really fascinating. This particular clip is I've kept it in because it's fascinating and it will really fire you up, but he does say some bad words. I'm telling you now. So I had a choice, and I need to know your feedback on this actually, because I mean the show's not for kids, but it's not. I wouldn't normally put effing and jeffing anywhere. I certainly don't use it because it's naughty. But Gary Vaynerchuk does all the time. So we got a choice. Everyone who's watching the show is of a certain professional caliber and of a certain age. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it in so my daughter could watch, but she doesn't watch it. She's at school, so it's only you and me, right? And so, give me your view, yes or no, if it's got effing and jeffing in it, should I show a Gary Vaynerchuk video? Or should I not do it? Or should I bleep it out? So you got yes, no, or bleep. Yes, no, or bleep. Give me your answers now. I'd like to know. And I'll just know, because we're going to do it today anyway, but I'll know for next time what your sensibilities are. Because I hate the idea of offending you. And certainly when my mom hears swearing on the TV, she goes, oh, 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 oh. And I'm going, just stop. Stop. I've not done that for years. I've lived at home for years. And I haven't sworn on TV for years. But you get the general idea. So today's show is really action-packed. I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed putting it all together. And if you hadn't enjoyed it, then don't worry. This is the first show that I'm going to do that goes all the way to 40. Tomorrow and the day after, I'm going to take a break for 2 days. What a day for 2 days? I've got some work I've got to do. Yes, I work as well. I've got some contracts I've got to fulfill and some speaking gigs I've got to do. So I'll take a break for 2 days, but when I come back, I've got the most incredible session for you, which I'll tell you about later on. So if you're excited, and I know I'm talking fast, but I do feel good about today's show, then let me know that as well. It's a pleasure having you with me, and welcome to the show. It's Speak on Stage.
The Lean Startup How Today's Entrepreneurs Use Continuous Innovation to Create Radically Successful Businesses by Eric Ries, a serial entrepreneur who created the Lean Startup movement to help startups allocate their resources more effectively. Startups are not about coming up with a brilliant idea and becoming an overnight success as many articles might have you believe. Entrepreneurship, in fact, is much more about testing and learning faster than your competitors. Most startups fail, but much of that failure is avoidable. And the Lean Startup is the methodology that helps entrepreneurs avoid failure. The reason why many startups fail is that they operate based on a conventional approach to management. Traditionally, doing your market research, coming up with a solid strategy, and delivering a great product works. But it doesn't work with startups, because it assumes that you already know what the market wants. And the moment you make that assumption, you're doomed to failure. You will waste too much time and money developing the perfect product before you realize that there's no market for it. The Lean Startup methodology is based on a rinse and repeat type of cycle. Build, measure, learn. Build a product, measure your customers' reactions, and learn if your idea has been validated or if you need to adapt. Repeat the cycle until your customers send you a clear signal that your product fits a market need, the much coveted product market fit. Before embarking on this journey, start by considering what are 2 or 3 key assumptions that you're making that will determine your startup success, and what is the cheapest and fastest way to test them. Once you've designed your test, build your minimum viable product, or MVP. That's not a product you'd be proud of, far from it. It just needs the critical features for your test to yield meaningful results. The singular role of the MVP is to play its part in your test. After you have an MVP, you need a good way to measure your customers' reactions. In order to avoid any biases after you've collected the data, it's best to come up with a baseline of metrics up front. If you're measuring conversions or email signups, how many do you need to consider the test a success? Be clear about what success and failure look like, because it's going to be much harder to distinguish between the two later. And finally, assess what you learned. Should you pivot or persevere? If your assumptions are confirmed, you're off to the races and you can focus on refining the product. But if one of your key assumptions is proven wrong, you may have to pivot, change your idea, or focus on a different customer segment and start the cycle over again. You may have to experiment more than you expected before you can find what your customers really want. Entrepreneurs often dive headfirst into an idea they're passionate about. Yet there's a more scientific approach to building a startup. Having a process to manage the chaos and uncertainties surrounding startups can be a lifesaver when you feel like you're struggling, swimming in the deep end.
Hope you found that fascinating. Eric Ries's book, The Lean Startup, and it's a massive thing. There's a whole movement of people who are using this. Now, if you don't know about starting a side hustle or even your startup business, and you're going, well, that's well and good, Dave, but what do I do? Well, remember I showed you the Ikigai earlier. I showed you this diagram here for a very good reason. When you look at it, it's got a couple of things that you should be really watching. What do you love? What does the world need? What you're good at, and what you can be paid for. When you look at all these different things together, they should all match up. So for instance, what do you love? Maybe you love animals. So maybe you want to spend more time like a vet or a dog walker, or just babysitting pets for people. Or maybe you want to make sure that when people go away on holiday, if they ever get another holiday, that you're there for them. Or maybe you create a business looking after delivering boxes of treats to dogs. Not to dogs, to the parents, obviously. But what I mean is not to their parents, dog parents. It means somebody who's got a dog. They're called dog parents. I don't mean get the actual dog's parents. You know, here, Rover and Shillelagh, here's your box. Because they'll just go, rough. So it's not rough. It's in a nice box. Spend a lot of money on that and they do all the wrapping. Rough. No, it's not rough. Do you want to start a fight? I'll fight a dog. Which you wouldn't do because you love dogs. But the point is that, I mean, we pay for a pet box to arrive every month. And it's got treats, it's got collars, it's got pooper bags, it's got chew toys, it's got all sorts of squeaky stuff in it for our dogs. And so you could do that even if you don't really get qualified as a vet, but you've got a passion for dogs. And all that really is getting together the logistics of getting the best stuff from all around the world, getting it to your hometown, getting it packaged, and either putting the boxes together and delivering them individually to people, which keeps you busy, or what you could do is get them all sent to the people directly from the people who make these boxes. You've got a number of different ways of investigating. That could be something to look after your love of pets. So you could work in partnership with an existing pet shop, or you could work with individual suppliers. There's a ton of different ways of doing it. You could be mowing the lawn for next door. You could be doing things where you repair shoes if you're very good at doing it and you love doing it. Maybe what you do is you paint ceramics. So people bring you their favorite mug or their favorite plate and you create something. Maybe you create birthday wishes for people on their breakfast bowl. I don't know. But these are all things that people will pay for. And they might seem really geeky and weird. And you're going, well, why would anybody bother with that? Well, because somebody will. And you work it out. The lean startup means you don't throw yourself in 100%. It means you don't even need to have huge money to do it. You can do it from scratch, just based on earning and adding. But if you've got a really good idea, people will pay for it. Sometimes even before you've actually got the product. But do not leave yourself stretched too far so you end up not being able to deliver, because that's called a Ponzi scheme and everybody will hate you. Next up, we've got Gary Vee. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk has been a really influential marketer, speaker, and sales trainer in many ways. He's a real expert in social media, but he teaches you lots of different areas if you don't already know him. Now, I will warn you, this has a little warning that goes next to it. I should have made a little sign saying Gary V, F's and Jeffs all the way through this. And he does a little bit, but I think that the value is there. So I want to share this video with you all about having a side hustle. Don't be scared, I won't bite, but he will. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, and I'd love to know what you would do as a side hustle. If you're particularly interested in that, then send me your details as well. Maybe we can work something out, or maybe I can just give you a few pointers. Because with the Industry Icon program, many people have got a job that pays their wages, but they have a passion for doing something else. And they know that they're very good at it, but they've not done anything since school. And that's where that letter from Irene Mitchell that I got on Facebook, lovely Mrs. Mitchell, who I love to bits, and she was so sweet when I was in the classroom, is so important for you, because you might spend the rest of your life not doing what you're really good at and never finding out how you could be an industry icon just by doing something really special. Does that make sense? Good. Okay, so next up, Gary Vaynerchuk on Speak on Stage.
Could you imagine being able to quit your job at 42 that you fucking hate and are dying inside and do a business around your singular thing? Your singular thing.
Is there any particular products you're fascinated?
Everything's
categories?
every single thing that's sold in a store is vulnerable to DTC.
What I like to do is just look at Procter & Gamble, everything they sell, you just throw a dart at it.
Better than that. And I like what you did because Procter's the leader, but like take it all. Anything that's sold in a store
Just Target, just walk around Target.
Anything.
Yeah.
And that then tells every entrepreneur, because I know a lot are listening right now, sell what you love. Like if you love blueberry jam, fucking make that brand. Back to you saying it's easy, it has never been easier to be like, I love peanut butter and jelly, for real, I love it. It's never been easier on earth. And I mean, the delta is like 1 billion to 0 on starting a peanut butter and jelly brand if you take a 10-year window. If you take a 10-year window, let me tell you real life instead of this VC shit. And I know we're late, but fuck it, I'm pumped right now. If you sell dumb shit in your house, I don't have money, Gary, good. You have stuff in your house. Like most Americans have stuff. Even like people that aren't making a lot of money have fucking stuff.
At least $1,000 of crap.
Yes. And if you don't, I'll teach you, and I keep teaching people, I'll teach you how to take $30 and turn it into 1,000. I fucking did it in Trash Talk episode 3. It was called $20 of Olympic pins for over 1,000. Real life, real talk. Do you have the humility to go garage sailing? That's the question. Do you have humility to go to the dollar store and walk out, and while everybody is at that Whole Foods and sees you walking out with bags from the dollar store, people don't like judgment. Do you have the humility when you don't have a car to go pick up something on Craigslist and take the fucking bus and sit with a lamp on your lap? Like,
well, why wouldn't you want to do that? That sounds fun.
Because it's easier for people mentally to complain and blame than to take on accountability. Accountable as fuck. Tell them I want it this afternoon, Alex. So nonetheless, if you can get $20,000 by eating shit for a year and grinding, then you can then take that $20,000 to develop early stage peanut butter and jelly brand, early stage Instagram and TikTok ads, and early stage, AKA 10 years. But in 10 years, if you're 32, could you imagine being able to quit your job at 42 that you fucking hate and are dying inside and do a business around your singular thing? Your singular thing. I'm talking, everybody needs to hear this. This is Crush It 2008. I was right. It's real. Like, people are still not doing it. Fuck where you see the opportunity because you read The Hustle and trends and you're like, fuck, there's not, that's great. And by the way, you might be like me. By the way, me, I'm a business nerd. I can get fired up about anything.
Yeah, we just like to nerd out on that stuff.
But if you're fucking hardcore toothpaste, like you like it, you like buy different brands, you're intrigued by it, it's vulnerable. If you're like hardcore skiing, and video work, like go become the person that fucking does content on ski mountains. It's real, it's fucking real. But you have to think of it in 10 years because anybody who thinks it's real thinks you have to raise money. Everybody thinks you have to raise money now. It's fucking broke, bro.
It's never been cheaper. Maybe if you live in San Francisco, but I always tell people, move to New
So
Mexico.
don't live in fucking San Francisco.
Go to
then.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Go to Missouri.
That's right, bro. No, for real.
When BuzzFeed and Vox were doing their thing, I was tweeting and I was like, move your offices to St. Louis. You'll be profitable.
And welcome back to Speak on Stage. I counted about 14 or 15 F's and Jeffs, but who's counting? I'm Gary Vaynerchuk, and the thing is, it was worth watching. I know it was sweary, and if you're wearing a suit at home and you're going, well, Dave, your content has suddenly become really shocking. I know, I don't really like to put swearing in there, but it was just worth it because the passion that Gary shares and the knowledge he shares is second to none. There's nobody who does that kind of stuff. I mean, Tony Robbins is best motivational speaker, and I love listening to him, but there's something about Gary that just makes it feel real and in your face and passionate and makes you want to get involved in it, and hopefully have the same effect for you as well. So, millionaires. Most people don't want to be a millionaire for lots of different reasons, and I will share with you that most people have a fear of money. They have a fear of money, of making money, of people with middle-class values, of the fear that that they'll change and lose all their friends, or that if money comes along, it'll be a load of extra bills they hadn't thought about, but they'd rather not do it. And this is not necessarily what happens on the surface. On the surface, everyone needs money because with lots of money, you pay bills, you have freedom, you can do the stuff you want. It's under the surface, underneath the back of your mind, in your subconscious mind, you're thinking, oh my goodness, what would I do if that happens? So you sabotage your success. And many people do this. It's either self-talk or it's the comments that people make, or what you do is you end up making the wrong decisions and overspending every month. The big stars like your Oprah Winfrey's and all these kind of people who have got tons of money, rather than going out and spending it all and looking the business, what they do is invest it. We chuck it away and we leave it and let it grow so we know that later on when they stop working, if they stop working, they can just go, you know what, I don't need to work ever again. I've made crazy money, so I'm fine with it. People like Mark Zuckerberg drives a battered old car. People like Warren Buffett lives in a really small old house that's worth quite a bit, but it's not worth that much. Could he live in bigger? Yes, he could, but why doesn't he? Because real estate isn't a great investment. It's an asset, kind of, but it also can decline depending on what you've bought and where you are. If you want to do it smart, then what you do is you buy property to rent out. So then it grows. Other people are living in it. They're paying your rent. They're paying your mortgage. And by the time you come to a certain term, 25 years later, you've rented it out, you've got an extra property, you can sell it, and wow, you can live off the money of that. There's loads of different business models you could be considering. But today I want to talk about some habits, secret habits of very successful self-made millionaires. And with that, I want to share with you some things that maybe you hadn't considered. Now, if you love these thoughts and you love these ideas, please keep your comments coming in. Every time that something pops up, send a like or a love or some kind of thing. Start a watch party, tell your friends, and make sure you subscribe to this channel on all levels, whether you're watching me on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or Periscope or Twitter, and make sure that you're connected with me. I don't mind, I never used to like saying follow me, but I mean, if it only gives you the option of following like Twitter, just follow. Because I love the idea of being a friend with somebody, but sometimes the phrases that they have for being connected on social media are, in my opinion, degrading. So when I'm connected to people and people like the stuff I do, I would never say I've got fans. I'd never say I've got followers. I'd say I've got friends. These are my friends. I've got a friend, or I don't know them that well, but it's somebody who likes my stuff. Not liking me necessarily. Do you see the difference? It's just the way I like to think differently about people. So I see you as my friend if I haven't watched your show. Doesn't mean I'm going to give you money, but I'm just saying that. So, with this, I want to make sure that you connect with me on all channels, because this is kind of important stuff, especially if you like the idea of making more money during a pandemic. Possibly? I think so. Right, so let's start with this. The big habits of self-made millionaires is they have multiple streams of income. Let's start with the very beginning of what today's show is all about. It's all about the Ikigai. Remember I talked about that? I just found my Ikigai and threw it up on screen. This thing here about having your passion projects, the stuff that you really love to work on, the stuff that you get really excited about. So you got your main job, 1.5 jobs, and your Ikigai is your 0.5. But when you start looking at it, there are lots of different streams of income. You don't just have to have what it says on the tin. You can look at lots of other ways of making it. So for instance, as a speaker, I get paid to speak. I also get paid to help people set up their own TV shows. I also get paid to do the Industry Icon program, where I help them to be repositioned as the very best of their industry. And I help them market themselves. And I help them write books and do podcasts and stuff like that as well. I've got online streams for people to buy SpeakOnstage as a concept. I do classes. I go in and do corporate training, as well as doing a number of different things with industry. Right now, I've got about 3 or 4 companies inquired over the last couple of days saying that they want to talk to me about me training their management to be better speakers online and offline. So yes, we all are related to speaking and branding and being out there, marketing, but that's what I love. But if one of them goes down, doesn't mean the rest of them do. So during the pandemic, when we found out that we were all going to be stuck inside for what was meant to be 2 weeks, but turned out to be so far almost a year, well, 7 months at least, as a speaker, it would be impossible to earn money. There's no gigs. There's no one anywhere. So I reinvented myself to be able to coach online and speak online and do a web TV show to prove that I'm right. So with that, I was able to find a way to bring back in the income, and so can you. See what I mean? Different streams of income. If one goes down, it's different. Imagine your house being held up by a number of pillars, all holding up the roof. A couple fall down. Just make sure I've got the right. Yeah, rock. It could have been a different finger. A couple fall down, but you're still able to hold up the roof. That's key. If you just got one job where somebody pays you to turn up and they decide not to pay you anymore, and that's the only thing you can do, and that's the only proof you've got stuff that you can do, then you're going to be in the doo-doo. Sound like Gary Vaynerchuk now. Right now, if you haven't thought about it properly, and you probably are, if that's the situation, but always make sure you've got other stuff coming in. Right, number 2, they set dream goals before they actually goal set. So they dream set before they goal set. Put together what you really want to happen in your life. At some point, I'll show you my vision board. I've not got it ready today, so I'm not going to show you today. Do it after I come back after 2 days. But they dream of what they want, and then they work out the system of how to get it. They put their goals down, and you got to write them down. Otherwise, you won't get it, but you dream big all the time. Don't be scared of what other people say, because it's got nothing to do with anybody else. So therefore, I mean, they've actually written it down here. In 500 words or less, write down what you want in your ideal life from 5, 10, 15, or 20 years from now. Use the script of your ideal future life and make a bullet point list of everything you want. Put everything, the house you live in, who you're with, what you do, your holidays, your happiness, bung it all down there. And also ask yourself some questions. Question 1, what would I need to do? What activities would I need to engage in order for each wish on my list or dream to come true? And question 2, am I capable of performing those activities, and do I have the necessary skills and knowledge? And the answer is yes, then that's great. If not, ask yourself, how do I get them? Cool, isn't it? All right, so let's go back. I'm not going to spend too long on this because we've got a lot to get through. It's a busy show. Number 3, they avoid time wasters. Now, if you've contacted me, you know that I reply to everybody who gets in contact with me directly because it's very important to me. But somebody turns around and says, Dave, I don't know what to do. And I'll say, okay, well, do you want to work with me directly? Well, not really. Can you just spend a lot of time answering my emails for free? No. Why? Because I can't pay my bills with that. Just being honest. I can give you some pointers, and you do what I do. Go off and learn. That learning curve can take ages, unless you've got a mentor like me, or somebody who's a specialist or an expert who can get you there faster. But people who are time wasters, and I don't mean contacting me as time wasting, I get you there as fast as I can to the next stage, until then you've got to go away and do your own homework. But what I'm talking about is people, like for instance, getting phone calls from people. Dave, I'd like to talk to you about a business opportunity. Okay, what is it? Well, have you considered stocks and shares? Yes, I have. And we want to send you a portfolio. Stop there. I'm not interested. Stop. Just stop. I get those calls all the time that somebody, and then once you say, okay, thank you very much, then say, okay, what's your name? And you're like, well, you know my name, you got my number. Did you actually find out from someone? So these really freak me out. When people waste my time, it really winds me up. I don't meet people for coffee, especially not nowadays. But I will do a Zoom call for 10 to 15 minutes to work out how I can get you to a higher position. And it might not mean working with you. I don't work with everybody. Just don't. It's got to be a right decision between you and me and the opportunities and the investments. But it doesn't mean that I won't help you if you are looking to become a speaker and use that to drive your marketing and your brand and your side hustle, okay? You too, don't waste time and time wasters. You never get it back. You never get that time back again. And that includes negative people who don't buy into your vision. Get rid of them. It doesn't matter whether they're family or friends or partners. Just don't let them ruin your dream, okay? That sounds a bit controversial. Yes, it is. You mean I should tell my partner to shut up? I think you should. And then you can sleep in the car. But sometimes it's quiet. It's nice and have your own music. It's good. All right, then. Number 4, they found at least one successful mentor to work with in their life. One or many. Get a coach. Why should you do that? You save time. Life is too short. I'm 52 years old. I'm sharing with you today the story of when I was very small and ickle. I shared with you that person here. That was me years and years ago when I was on stage. That's me at the age of probably about 8 or 9 years old. I feel like the same kid. I don't look like the same kid, but I feel like the same kid. And I look at the learning curve of what I've had, and it's been like that. It's been up and down, but my learning curve now is like this. It's always going up. It still goes down, but it's always an upward trajectory. Why is that? Well, because I've found a focus. I do my ikigai. I don't do a job I don't love, so I'm doing what I specialize in and I'm really good at. And also, I pay for people to help me. I don't make websites. I pay somebody to make websites. Could I learn coding? Probably. Should I learn coding? No. Why? Because my time is best suited specializing in what I really do best. Work it out, right? What's your hourly rate? What do you get paid per hour? Is it $200 an hour? Is it $100 an hour? Is it $5,000 an hour? Now you're probably saying, yeah, when I get paid, as a speaker, for instance, I get paid $5,000 to $10,000 an hour for doing a speech. Right, do you do that all the time? No, I don't do it all the time. How often do you do it? Maybe twice a month, once every 3 months, whatever it is. If that is your hourly rate, then imagine you did more of that. Imagine you get paid $10,000 an hour as a speaker to do a keynote presentation. And you're going, wow, that's great money. Yeah, but you've got to be a great speaker. You've got to have a presentation. You've got to get to where they are. You've got to deliver the stuff and get home. And then you've got to do lots of consultation, unless you're online. That's what I teach digital stagecraft for. So you can do it from here on your laptop at home. That's another story. We'll do that in a future episode. But the point is that if you can get paid that kind of crazy money for doing just a speech, or there's people earning a lot more than that doing stocks and shares, then why do you only do that once in a blue moon? Why don't you dump all the other stuff that you're doing, or at least put it on the side burner until you're bored, and just concentrate on what brings in money better and faster? See what I mean? Well, that's something you'll learn with a mentor. A mentor will fast track you and will save you the one currency that's more important than money. Love. They'll save you money and love and happiness. What's more important than that? Can be your answers? Time. Of course, time. They'll save you time. The older you get, that picture of me when I was a kid, before I know it, 40 years have gone past. I'm going, oh my goodness, look at me now. Old, grey, really cool hair. Turning a bit grey. But the fact is, I don't waste time now learning curve. I want to learn from people who are experts, and I pay for it to happen. Why not? Okay, so that's what you get from Millionaires. And I train a lot of millionaires who, why should they pay? Because they want to learn to speak better, because they realize there's a massive gap in what they do. Billionaires, in fact, who can't speak in public. Imagine how much better they'd be when they're interviewed by CNN and Fox and all these other organizations, and they turn around and they're brilliant speakers like a Branson or like a Steve Jobs. Or Mark Zuckerberg, well, he's not Zuckerberg, but Barack Obama or Donald Trump, great speakers. And what happens? Confidence in their product goes through the roof, and people who are investors and the stock exchange go, spend money on that guy or that girl. That's somebody I buy into. So speaking's important. All right, so what's up? Okay, mentors. Your choices are parents, of course. sometimes, but most of the time your parents are there to help you as well. Teachers and career mentors and book mentors and the School of Hard Knocks. The School of Hard Knocks will get you there, but it's going to be brutal. And if you don't learn your life lessons, and many people don't learn their life lessons, but just keep soldiering on hoping it gets better, then it's going to be a really bumpy and painful ride. And number 5 of the tips you need to learn from self-made millionaires is they never quit on a dream. Once they've worked out that's what they really want to do, they know that it's running a marathon. And the key to running a marathon is not that you run to the finishing line and go, hey. It's that they put one step in front of the other and repeat. And as long as you're going in the right direction, as long as you've got lots of things to help you there, the right shoes, the right training, the right pace setters, you don't have to run at it, you can walk it, but you still manage your marathon, but it takes slightly longer there. So they don't give up on it. Just doesn't matter what the world is playing at, but you'd also have to be realistic about it. You know, my aim of having the world's biggest origami competition, woohoo, will people pay for it? No, but I love folding paper. It's my thing. Forget I made that noise. But it's got to be something that's got the ikigai on it. So it's got to be this. Remember, I'll give you this one last time. It's got to be something that you are, first of all, super passionate about, that you love. It's also got to be something you're good at. It's got to be what the world needs, and it's got to be what the world will pay for. What will the world pay for a huge origami competition? Maybe it will. Maybe some photocopying paper company will pay for the passion of starting everybody at home instead of printing and using ink, which is the world's most expensive fluid. They actually just fold the paper and make planes and make all sorts of flapping birds and frogs, and like Lego did. Lego did an incredible job of making the world Lego shaped. Little blocks. Useful for one thing, 2 things, 3 things. Getting stuck in your throat when you're bored. Standing on when you got nothing on your feet and going, ow. Making stuff. Lego. Just think about it. That origami idea doesn't sound so ridiculous now, does it? Teaching people origami from a very young age, having competitions, different colored papers, getting a social media channel that really just gets the people obsessed with origami, and then having a world competition to give out a really big prize for the very best delivered by that paper company. Can you see how it would all fit together? I hope you like these ideas and it excites you, because next up we're going to really break down the steps of creating a side hustle. I love your thoughts and your comments. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Remember, I'm taking a break for 2 days after this, so eat it all up and share this with your friends. It's Speak on Stage. So welcome back to Speak on Stage. My name is Dave Crane. Really hope you're enjoying today's session, all about starting your own side hustle. If you haven't considered it before, then you can do it alongside your existing job. And the thing is, I've done stuff on mindset. I've got another big session coming up on mindset soon, which I really want to show. Ooh, this is good coffee. I really want to share with you some fantastic ideas, by the way, about the way that you should be considering yourself. People say to me, and in the questions they say to me, Dave, can I do this? Should I ask my boss? No, don't ask your boss. Why shouldn't I ask my boss? What's it going to do with your boss? What's it going to do with anybody, what you make out of your life? One day when you're dead, you're going to ask that question, did I hand myself over to other people and did I find a happy life? Or would I spend my entire life worried about what people would think? People who don't like it can kiss it. I'm serious. If you don't buy into that, then you're probably not the right person to talk to. I want you to start feeling independent. I want you to start thinking that your life is your choice and you drive it properly. If you don't do that, you'll always be at the mercy of the BS that flies around about not wearing a mask, not social distancing, having a job that will work for you for life, and doing whatever you're told because everyone's got your best interests at heart. They may have some interest in you, but usually for their own. Because one of the key things you've got to ask, and it's a really important question, because it's true to do with business as well, is everyone's thinking, what's in it for me? Everybody's thinking, what's in it for me? You're watching this show, not just because Dave gets wound up and talks a lot, maybe you do, or because sometimes you think I might be naked, that's not going to happen, but might be because you're thinking, what do I get out of this show? What can I learn? What will make my life worth the 45 minutes to an hour I spend with Dave daily to improve my business by that percentage and tweak it so I can make the money? And I want that. I want you to make a ton of money. I'm serious about it. So that's what you've got to think about, what everyone else is thinking too. All right, so let's go through the steps that we want you to have. Do a screenshot if you want to, it will really help you. And I will go through this, record this if you need to, but this will be available on replay as soon as I finish broadcasting. Okay, first question, what are you brilliant at? Remember that with the Ikigai. What do you do that you're potentially the best in the world at? Second one, what do you love? I mean, what do you really love doing? Something that's really exciting, something that gets you going, something that makes you think, oh, I could do this all the time and never ever get bored. Number 3, what will people pay for? Will they pay for your thing, or is it just something that you have for yourself? If it's something that you have for yourself, could it be tweaked? Is there an element of it that's kind of like that? Like we talked about the pet shop, you don't necessarily have to be a pet shop owner. You don't necessarily even have to be a vet. You might have an enthusiasm for petting animals, and you just want to meet more animals. So what you do is you go online, you start seeing about buying stuff for putting together in a box, and you find out some communities that have animals. Could be a dog walking club, or it could be, Alsatian owners club, or it could be just dogs in Dubai or something like that. I say, right, guys, I've got something for you. I create a box that's deliverable for $50 a month. And it's got all these different bits in it, much cheaper than buying it in the shops, but I only want to get it to the people who love their dogs enough. Who's interested? And you might have figures that say, I need to get 20 people a month to make it cost effective. If you find a community where these people are, you find it much easier to access them. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Yes? I got an itchy nose. All right, I know you've noticed that, I'm just showing you. Okay, so what will people pay for? So the next thing is number 4. What are the right business options for you? What does that mean? Well, it means very simply, are you better doing it online? Are you better doing it in bricks and mortar? Are you better doing it in a partnership? Are you better doing it on your own? Are you better doing it so you train people? It's a course rather than actually an end product. Are you better writing about it and just having people follow your process? Are you better coaching and mentoring people than actually delivering it to them because it's their own thing? I don't know. You've got to work it out for yourself, but these are important before you take yourself to market. Number 5, what training do you need to get to the right level? If you're so passionate about it and you love it, you may be already at an expert level, but you don't know how to market it. You don't know how to get this out to people. You don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to position yourself as an industry expert or an icon so people will gravitate and spend money on you. Work it out. There's a couple of factors here. First of all, is it going to pay you to be successful in this? Are you going to make money out of it? Or if you're making enough money from your normal job and it's not so important, but you just need more out of life, are you going to get the fulfillment and the happiness that you need to validate yourself by doing this thing? If you do, sometimes payment isn't everything. For me, with all my clients, I make payment the number one thing. Well, no, happiness and payment. So they're going to love what they do and they feel great about it and they're actually growing into their own skin and their own personal brand, but also making money too. What's the point of being famous and influential and making no cash? Because I see so many people doing it right across the board on social media, and I just always think it's daft. I really do. And I know some people disagree. Yeah, but Dave, this is really good. People know who I am. Yeah, did they send you money? No. Well, you're probably spending less time with your family than you would do. And you can't eat and pay rent with that everybody recognizes me thing, can you? No? Right, well, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so then with number 6, make a business plan or a roadmap. How are you going to get there? Write it all down. Do your goals, do a vision board, then work out the systems. If I do this, and you don't start at the beginning, you don't start what I do now, you start at the end result. When you actually do whatever the end result is. Is the end result you make your first sale? Is it you make your first million? Is it that you get into the newspapers or magazines or you get asked to be on podcasts? Work from that bit, whatever you think is the end goal, or at least the end goal for now, and then start working your way back. So you start off by saying, right, I've been really successful now. I've got my brand into, suppose you're making chocolates. Let's stick with a dog person. Dog person has got all the major communities in their city all buying the dog stuff. Feeling really good. Got maybe 250 clients across the city all wanting to buy their stuff. So they're making money and it's really effective. Do they step it up to a higher level? I don't know, because at this stage you can't work it out because that's the goal that they got. They've not actually got 250 people. They just got a goal of 250 people. Maybe it's too far. Maybe you go 100 people. Maybe it's a first sale of one person. Okay, I've got one person who's bought my stuff. What did I do to get them interested? Well, I had to talk to them on the phone. What did I do before that? Well, I had to do some advertising. Where did I put it? Well, social media, because I didn't have a big budget. So I started talking about it and showing pictures of animals and saying, would you like your dog to have this, this, and this? I can help. Contact me. I did a web page so people could find me, but I couldn't really get a web page done. So I just did a social media page on Facebook. Okay, what do you do before that? I just worked out where you can get all the stuff from and the pricing and the logistics and the import tax I had to pay. What do you do before that? Well, I worked out which of my favorite animals and the ones I wanted to command and deal with. And what do you do before that? Well, I got some pictures of me with animals, and I got some other pictures of other people with animals, and put together a montage and saying, is this you? Are you a dog parent or a cat parent or a budgie parent or a goldfish parent? I don't think if you're a goldfish parent, there's much you want to actually do with a goldfish. But anyway, the point is there. If you're a pet owner, then I can help you. And you work it all the way back from the success to where you are right now. And from there, you've got a roadmap of what you do next. And you start off with what you do next after you finish listening to Dave and start the whole process going. Okay, number 7, who is your target group or audience? Very important to know that. If you are, say, doing this pet thing we talked about, are you aiming it at pet shops? So pet shops use your facilities and get out to their existing clients, and they put details of how to get this stuff from you on their cash registers? Probably not. Do you do it online? Are your target market the parents of the dogs, or are your target market the suppliers, or both? Or is it enthusiastic groups, or people wanting to buy a pet for their kids? It could be a load of different people, but work out who they are, because then you've got to have a special message that gets it to them in the way that they want it. Don't waste quality time giving a message that you think is right if they're not going to receive it the right way. Number 8, grow your connections, contacts, and networks. Start off by contacting everybody. You don't have to tell them your amazing plan, just tell them a little bit. You can send them an MOU, a memorandum of understanding that says, please don't share my ideas with anybody, and you want to do business with me, then let's do it. If not, then you're not allowed to show anybody. Can you get people to sign that? Sometimes you can, if you're serious enough. If you're connected to big enough players, you can, but sometimes you can't. That's fine. Don't work with them. Go with somebody else. Because your secret is a secret, but here's the thing, unless you've actually got the secret sauce that makes a KFC with 9 different spices or whatever it is, then the odds are other people are doing what you do. And there's a beauty in that, because then you can reverse engineer what they did and fast track what you need to do to get your business going even further. So get connections, contacts, and network. Do that all the time. Social media is brilliant for doing that. Jump into communities, join them, and talk to people individually. It's really cool. All right, number 9, what's your offer, solution, and price points? That's going to be challenging, but do your homework. What are people willing to pay? Maybe you need to ask them, what will you pay to learn to do this job? What will you pay to have this box of goodies arrive? Well, my budget for my dogs at the moment, I'm paying a lot for dog food, but I don't really buy much on treats because it's too expensive. Well, what would you like to spend? Ooh, about $40. Not 50, no 40. Okay, so maybe that tells you that your $50 box is too expensive, or maybe you do 3 different boxes for 3 different price points. You got a $40, you got a $70, and you got a $100. Somebody wants a full Monty. Somebody turns around to their dog and says, right, here you go. The front room no longer has room for me in it. I'm going to move my TV screen, I'm going to move my big chair and my pipe. No, anyone's got. I mean, a pipe as in granddad pipe, not as in like a crab pipe. If that's the case, you probably already smoked your dog. But the point is that whatever you need to do, you have a price point and you work out what's the most cost effective. Who will buy it and what is their budget, okay? And then once you've got that, you've got a better idea about how the logistics work. And then number 10, start marketing like crazy. Get yourself out there, position yourself, let people know what you're doing, talk to them all the time. Share ideas, build a tribe, build a community around what it is that you do. Tap into other people's tribes, other people's communities. The odds are you will be complementary to most groups. You won't be fighting against most groups. Maybe you'll be fighting against certain shops that bring in goodies for their dogs. But you can probably compromise and say, you know what? I know you bring in the same similar type of goodies that we have, but think how many of my clients will come to your shop for grooming. I'll come to your shop to see the vet. I'll come to your shop because they want to get a new collar. We don't do collars. Or whatever it is. You can sometimes find partnerships where you beg to differ on certain stuff, but you realize from a benevolence point of view, there's enough for everybody. Now, if this interests you, the dog thing, I know I spent a lot of time on it, but the reason for doing that is because I love dogs and I'm making it up as I go along. And as a passion project, it's not something I would particularly want to do because I'm not as passionate about my dogs as I'm about speaking, but it's certainly something I would pay for. And I do. So whatever you've got in your mind that's really cool and groovy, but you're thinking, well, you know, I don't really think anybody would buy that from me, Dave. You'd be surprised. Someone, somewhere, 100% would be interested in getting that from you, but they just don't know you're doing it yet. So you're watching Speak on Stage. As always, this is the Industry Icon program, and there you can see a really good view of the island where I live. It's not really the island where I live at all, it's just an island. So I wanted to share with you something else instead, which is the Industry Icon backdrop, which is here. Ta-da! As if who could imagine, and suddenly it's right in front of you. Thank you, Dave, for doing that. So thank you for staying around long enough to watch it. So the Industry Icon program is how I help people to suddenly grow their business. All the stuff I talk about every single day, and today is episode 40. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm just clapping for myself. Oh, hold on. Got something in my eye. I think it's tears of joy. Or maybe it's because I've been sleeping far too much. But it's there anyway. Industry Icon program is to fast track you. All the stuff I share with people, I share with individuals, because right now I'm throwing it out there and hopefully you're catching gems. And you go, well, hey, Dave, this is really exciting. I can make money from Pac-Man. No, I can make money. This is what we have as a squeeze toy in Dubai. People get stressed and they get a real gold bar. This is a real gold bar. And what they do with it is they say, I'm so angry with this gold bar, I'm going to discipline myself by going, don't really. It's just a noise I make. Ooh. Oh no, I ripped it. I ripped my gold bar, look. Can you see that? I ripped it. I have to get a new one. Still smells good though. All right, so the Industry Icon program, contact me through Speak on Stage. Go to Speak on Stage, got a number of different modules for you, all about the different things you need to know to be an effective speaker and communicator. I'm really upset about this. I have to get a new squeeze toy. Amazon next. So, ooh. I'm thinking about stuff, but I shouldn't because I'm still doing a show. Dave, shut up, get on with it. Okay. So, you contact me through Speak on Stage. Have a look at modules. We're all there covering everything you need to be an effective speaker and marketer. And also, if you scroll down, you can see the Industry Icon button. It's a green one. Press on that, and you've got details of how you can book a 10 to 15-minute consultation with me about how we can grow your business and position you as a speaker. And maybe you even want your own web TV show or your podcast, or maybe you just want to be more effective in what you're doing right now. Things are challenging. If you've got bricks and mortar business, you'd be surprised how much of what you actually do has another side to it that you hadn't considered, because sometimes you're too close to your own brand to be able to work out what you need to do to be more effective. Does that make sense? Good. I hope so. So contact me through Speak on Stage, and I'll be more than happy to sit and chat to you for at least 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, depending how boring you are. I'm just being honest. And then we can work out how to get you forward and really create some incredible opportunities for you. This is the best opportunity time we've ever had. I really can't tell you that often enough. I don't think we've ever had a reset button pressed on our careers and our livelihoods and our relationships with everybody. You could reinvent yourself as anything right now, and I guarantee that most of the people, your competition from before, are maybe getting around to it now, but they're possibly just waiting, thinking in lack, and waiting for somebody to rescue them. Nobody's coming. The only person going to rescue you is you. So that's the show for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Lots of really groovy stuff to share with you. We love your thoughts, your comments, and your support as always. Make me feel good and make me feel happy. And hopefully I'm doing the same for you wherever you are and whatever you're doing. We're going to take 2 days off because I've got some projects I've got to finish for some big clients. And also I'll share with you some really cool stuff by then. By the time we get around to doing that, I also want to tell you about the show that's coming up. We will be sharing this show when I return. How to influence in a post-COVID world. How do you do your marketing? How do you position yourself as an influencer? What is an influencer? How do you get your social proof together? How do you make sure your branding fits in with what you need to have as a business model? It doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to be seen as the very best in your industry. In fact, far from that. Maybe you just need to be the best in your region, the best in your location, or just somebody that's accessible where they buy into you and your tribe. We'll be discussing all that stuff. So if you are thinking about being more, excuse me, lost my coffee. Just wait. I love it. And I need to get a new mug. I need to get a new mug with Black Panther on the front. I will have that soon. So, because otherwise, that doesn't make any sense, does it? What was I talking about? Tell me. Was it? No? Okay. So back in 2 days, we're going to be talking about how to be really influential. In the next show, I love your thoughts, I love your comments. I love you to share it, support it, tell people about this, start a watch party. When you think you like this show, let people know, because I don't go over the same subjects very often. I do as many different subjects as possible, and I love you to tell me which subjects you really find fascinating so I can spend more time deep diving into that and less time on the stuff that people don't find interesting. I only deal with the stuff I really like, but they're all to do with branding, speaking, getting yourself out there, marketing, sales, and repositioning, which I think everybody should like at some point, shape, or form, because that's how you earn money. And I love that noise. I don't want to make more of those noises for you in the future. So from today, that's it. I'll catch you in 2 days' time. Look after yourself. And when we come back, it's going to be fascinating stuff. I always love you being there. Connect with me online and look after yourself. Speak on stage. Sometimes it rains in paradise. You leave everybody behind and you look around and the rain's come down. It got to that point where you thought, I can start on my own. I can do my own thing. But then when the rain comes down, you can't tell what's behind you and you can't tell what's in front. In real terms, that means you're not really sure where you've been or where you're gonna go. So what do? Do you look for shelter? Do you look for a place to hide? A place where you can not be seen and you can lick your wounds? Or do you just test the water? Feel what it's like. Feel the consistency and make a decision. Maybe I can still do this. It doesn't matter where you are, how big you get, how powerful you are, how connected, how successful. It's always going to rain in paradise. But the big difference is, what are you going to do about it? The smart people make choices as they go. The smart people learn to deal with it as it comes. The smart people know that regardless of what happens right now, the sunshine will come out. Life will be good, and you'll get your opportunity to shine. That's why the successful people always make it to the top. When everybody else runs for cover, they get out their umbrella, they take stock of how tough the weather's going to be, and they keep moving on. Life is too short. You have the ability to stay outside in the rain. If you didn't, your skin wouldn't be waterproof. Bear that in mind, because you can enjoy an amazing experience of living life in the rain in paradise.